is he will die on his feet before he'll live on his knees.
Wow.
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 Before he'll leave on his knees.
The Admiral
Yes.
said, we have now instructed.
Hey guys, it's the Loud Guys. Today we are going to react to Star-Spangled Banner, and that is the national anthem of United States of America. And the thing is, Star-Spangled Banner, as you have never heard it. So it is about a story of how their national anthem came to be. So that would be very like interesting to know and very important to know, because every national anthem is very close to the every like citizen's heart, because our
Yes.
national anthem is also very good, and like we are very proud when we
Yes.
sing it and we love it. And the thing is, like, every name is mentioned and everything is mentioned it, and I think so Rabindranath Tagore wrote it, so that is very important to us. Similarly, I expect USA people to have a backstory to it and something emotional attached to it, so I'm very excited.
Yes, every citizen feels proud while singing their national anthem, and every national anthem has some story behind it. And this national anthem is of US, and it is the lyrics came from Defense of Fort McHenry, and a lawyer wrote this. It is from a poem, and a lawyer wrote this poem regarding after an incident. So let's see that what that incident was and what is the history behind this national anthem.
Yes, I would really like to know the whole history behind it, so let's start.
There was a lawyer once. His name was Francis Scott Key. He penned a song that I'm sure you're aware of. You've seen it. It's in most hymnals throughout our churches. It's called the national anthem. It is our song as an American. We go, however, to a ball game. We stand in our church services and we sing the words of that song, and they float over our minds and our lips, and we don't even realize what we're singing. Most of us have memorized it as a child, but we've never really thought about what it means. Let me tell you a story. Francis Scott Key was a lawyer in Baltimore. The colonies were engaged in vicious conflict with the mother country, Britain. Because of this conflict and the protractedness of it, they had accumulated prisoners on both sides. The American colonies had prisoners and the British had prisoners. And the American government initiated a move. They went to the British and they said, let us negotiate for the release of these prisoners. They said, we want to send a man out to discuss this with you. They were holding the American prisoners in boats about 1,000 yards offshore.
Oh.
And they said, we want to send a man by the name of Francis Scott Key. He will come out and negotiate to see if we can make a mutual exchange.
Oh.
On the appointed day, in a rowboat, he went out to this boat and he negotiated with the British officials. And they reached a conclusion that men could be exchanged on a one-for-one basis.
And that would be?
Francis Scott Key, jubilant with the fact that he'd been successful, went down below in the boats, and what he found was a cargo hold full of humanity, men.
Oh.
And he said, men, I've got news for you tonight. You're free.
Oh.
Wow.
He said, tonight I have negotiated successfully your return to the colonies. He said, you'll be taken out of this boat, out of this filth, out of your chains. As he went back up on board to arrange for their passage to the shore, the admiral came and he said, we have a slight problem.
What?
He said, we will still honor our commitment to release these men, but it'll be merely academic after tonight. It won't matter.
Why?
And Francis Scott Key said, what do you mean?
Yes.
He said, well, Mr. Key, he said, tonight we have laid an ultimatum upon the colonies. Your people will either capitulate and lay down the colors of that flag that you think so much of, or you see that fort right over there, Fort McHenry? He said, we're going to remove it from the face of the earth. He said, how are you going to do that? He said, if you will, scan the horizon of the sea. And as he looked, he could see hundreds of little dots. And he said, that's the entire British war fleet.
My God.
He
They
said,
are
all of the
attacking.
gunpowder, all of the armament is being called upon to demolish that fort. It will be here within striking distance in a matter of about 2.5 hours. He said, the war is over. These men would be free anyway. He said, you can't shell that fort. He said, that's a large fort. He said, it's full of women and children. He says, it's predominantly not a military fort. They said, don't worry about it. They said, we've left them a way out. And he said, what's that? He said, do you see that flag way up on the rampart? He said, we have told them that if they will lower that flag, the shelling will stop immediately.
Wow.
And we'll know that they've surrendered, and you'll now be under British rule.
Oh my God. So either you
Francis
go
Scott
down
Key went
or
down
you
below
get
and
killed.
told the men what was about to happen. And they said, how many ships? He said, hundreds.
Oh.
The ships got closer. Francis Scott Key went back up on top and he said, men, I'll shout down to you what's going on as we watch. As twilight began to fall, and as the haze hung over the ocean as it does at sunset, suddenly the British war fleet unleashed. He says the sound was deafening. There were so many guns that there were no reliefs. He said it was absolutely impossible to talk or hear. He said suddenly the sky, although dark, was suddenly lit. And he says from down below, all he could hear the men, the prisoners, saying was, tell us where the flag is.
Wow.
What have they done with the flag?
They are still concerned about the flag only.
Is the flag still flying over the rampart? Tell us.
Wow, man. That's awesome.
1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours into the shelling. Every time the bomb would explode and it would be close to the flag, they could see the flag in the illuminated red glare of that bomb. And Francis Scott Key would report down to the men below, it's still up.
Still up. Yeah.
Wow.
It's not down.
Goosebumps.
Seriously.
The admiral came and he said, your people are insane. He said, what's the matter with them? He said, don't they understand this is an impossible situation? Francis Scott Key said he remembered what George Washington had said. He said the thing that sets the American Christian apart from all other people in the world is he will die on his feet before he'll live on his knees.
Wow.
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 Before he'll leave on his knees.
The admiral said, we have now instructed all of the guns to focus on the rampart to take that flag down. He said, we don't understand something. Our reconnaissance tells us that that flag has been hit directly again and again and again, and yet it's still flying. We don't understand that.
Wow.
But he said, now we're about to bring every gun for the next 3 hours to bear on that point. Francis Scott Key said the barrage was unmerciful.
They are relentless.
All that he could hear was the men down below praying. The prayer. God, keep that flag flying
So emotional.
where we last saw it.
Country's flag is always special for every citizen, right?
Sunrise came.
Wow.
He said there was a heavy mist hanging over the land, but the rampart was tall enough. There stood the flag, completely nondescript, in shreds. The flagpole itself was at a crazy angle, but the flag was still at the top.
Wow, man.
Francis Scott Key went aboard and immediately went into Fort McHenry to see what had happened. And what he'd found had happened was that that flagpole and that flag had suffered repetitious direct hits. And when hit had fallen, but men, fathers, who knew what it meant for that flag to be on the ground, although knowing that all of the British guns were trained on it, walked over and held it up humanly
Wow.
until they died.
The pole got destroyed. The men were holding
Their
that
bodies
flag.
were removed and others took their place.
Oh my God.
Francis Scott Key said what held that flagpole in place at that unusual angle were patriots' bodies.
Wow, man. Wow.
He penned the song, "Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light
And then he penned this song.
Yes.
Wow.
what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming. Or the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that the flag was still there.
Wow. So nice.
Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet fly and
That is the
wave
land that he has written, I believe.
o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? The debt was demanded. The price, it was paid.
Oh, say
getting to know the story behind it. Wow, these words do not sound normal.
At the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets spread clear, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag
Wow.
Still
Wow.
still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
the lyrics are so related.
Even I am getting
to
very-
that incident.
I'm getting very emotional seeing this. This story was so moving and it gave me so many goosebumps, and it was so emotional because these kind of stories we hear it a lot in India because we too were ruled by Britishers, and there were many fights that we did for our flag, for our pride, to get them out of here and like get that freedom. So we could like understand what
Yes,
US was
exactly.
feeling.
When we are listening to the story, the incidences of India only were coming to my mind that okay, we have also, like, not we but our country has also faced this kind of situations that do this or you will die, or else you will die. So this is so relatable, and it makes you so emotional. It gives you so goosebumps, and literally you can understand that what those people must be feeling at that time.
And the point where he was telling, like the Britishers were telling him that okay, if you put that flag down, then it's okay. Then we are not going to attack anyone, and we are also going to release the prisoners. And if you don't pull that flag down, then we are going to go hell loose and we'll attack whatever we can. So that was it. But nobody backed off.
Yes, seriously, even in India, we've heard a lot of incidences that no, the flag should held up high and the flag should never come down. So that is also so relatable that okay, we can understand that why that people chose to be prisoners rather than bowing their flag down. So that was so good.
And the thing was, the point where he said that we thought that the flag was like tilting, like from far above you can see that the
Yeah,
flag was tilting. But
tilting.
then we got to know that how the flag was tilting was because that flag post had been destroyed. But all the men were standing there with the flag in their hand, and they were making sure that the flag held high, and they knew that all the attacks were there on the flag itself, so they
Yes,
will be killed,
exactly.
but they were still standing there. So that was such an emotional moment and such a goosebumps giving moment. So all the parts were so emotional, and it was giving us so many connections to what India did and what India did against these Britishers. So this was an amazing video. So if you have any more videos like this, do let us know in the comment section below. So do like, share, and
Subscribe to our channel.
Bye.
Bye.